I want you to imagine this for a moment, because what happened next shocked everyone who witnessed it. A mountain man stood in the trading post, coins clenched tightly in his roughened hand. Before him was a rejected bride, her face hidden beneath a coarse sack tied loosely. People whispered, judging, assuming the worst, already writing her story without mercy. They thought this was desperation meeting desperation on a dusty frontier afternoon. But stay with me, because this moment was only the beginning of something unforgettable. I promise you, what he saw next made his breath catch in his throat. It made his world tilt in a way he never expected or prepared for. And if you've ever believed fate works in strange ways, this story proves it. So lean in, because you're about to witness a turning point that changed 2 lives forever. You see, this mountain man wasn't like the others crowding the trading post that day. He lived alone in the high country, where winters spoke louder than words ever could. His hands were scarred from axes, storms, and years of surviving without comfort. He wasn't looking for beauty, gossip, or approval from anyone standing nearby. He was looking for quiet companionship, someone to share the long silences with. When he heard she'd been rejected without even being seen, something stirred inside him. Not pity exactly, but recognition of being cast aside by a harsh world. So he paid the price, ignoring laughter that followed him like buzzing flies. The sack stayed on, as agreed, until they were far from prying eyes. That detail alone made everyone believe this story would end badly. The journey away from town was long, and I want you to feel that tension. Hooves struck dirt rhythmically while the wind carried unspoken questions between them. She sat silently, hands folded, posture calm despite her uncertain future. He said little, knowing words couldn't ease fear born from rejection. Every mile stretched like a test of faith for both souls involved. People watching them disappear shook their heads, convinced tragedy was inevitable. But out there, beyond judgment, something gentler began to take shape. The mountain man felt an unfamiliar pull, a quiet hope he didn't trust. He reminded himself not to expect anything, especially not miracles. Still, his chest felt strangely tight with anticipation he refused to name. When they finally reached his cabin, dusk painted the mountains in copper light. The place was simple, sturdy, built to withstand storms and loneliness alike. He dismounted first, giving her space, respecting boundaries others never considered. The silence wasn't awkward, it was heavy with meaning and possibility. He told her she was safe now, and those words carried real weight. No one had spoken them to her in a long time, if ever. The sack remained, tied gently but symbolically between fear and truth. He hesitated, knowing once removed, nothing could be undone. This was the moment everything balanced on, like a breath held too long. And trust me, this was where destiny decided to speak loudly. With hands that suddenly felt clumsy, he reached for the knot. She didn't flinch, didn't pull away, which surprised him more than anything. The fabric loosened, sliding down slowly, revealing what no one expected. He gasped, not because of beauty alone, but because of recognition. Her face carried strength, quiet sorrow, and resilience carved by hardship. This was not a broken woman, this was a survivor. Her eyes met his without fear, only cautious curiosity and dignity. In that instant, every cruel whisper from town lost its power. He realized rejection had nothing to do with worth, then or now. And suddenly, his lonely cabin felt warmer than it ever had. I want you to understand what that gasp truly meant in this moment. It wasn't desire shouting, it was respect awakening where loneliness once lived. He saw a partner forged by struggle, not a burden to endure. She saw a man who judged with actions instead of cruel assumptions. Neither spoke, yet everything important passed between their glances. Sometimes connection doesn't arrive loudly, sometimes it settles quietly into place. The mountain stood witness, unmoved yet deeply present for this turning point. He offered her food, water, and choice, something she rarely received. She accepted slowly, tasting safety along with her meal. And just like that, fear loosened its grip on both hearts. Days passed, and I want you to picture how life unfolded naturally. They worked side by side, learning rhythms instead of forcing expectations. Conversation came easily when silence no longer felt threatening. She shared pieces of her past, never asking for pity or rescue. He shared his solitude, explaining why mountains felt safer than crowds. Mutual respect grew like steady fire, warming without burning. There were no grand promises spoken under dramatic skies. Instead, trust was built through consistency and shared effort. Each sunrise brought less distance between them. And the rejected bride slowly became a woman choosing her own future. Now here's where this story challenges everything people believed back in town. They thought worth was decided by first glances and shallow standards. They thought rejection defined a person's entire story. But out here, away from gossip, truth revealed itself patiently. She wasn't unwanted, she was undiscovered by those unwilling to look deeper. He wasn't desperate, he was discerning in a world that mocked him. Together, they rewrote a narrative no one else bothered to question. Their bond wasn't flashy, but it was unshakable. Even the mountains seemed to soften around their shared laughter. And slowly, word of their life drifted back to the settlement. When townsfolk finally saw her again, they barely recognized her. Confidence replaced the shadow that once followed her steps. She stood tall, no sack, no shame, no lowered gaze. The mountain man stood beside her, calm and unbothered by stares. Judgment lingered briefly, then faltered under undeniable truth. Some realized their mistakes too late for apologies to matter. Others simply watched, learning without ever admitting fault. But the couple didn't linger, they didn't need validation. They returned to their chosen life, richer than gold could buy. And rejection lost its power over both of them forever. If you've ever felt dismissed, underestimated, or unseen, this part matters. Sometimes the path meant for you starts where others turn away. Sometimes the sack covering your worth is tied by cruel hands. But the right moment, the right place, can change everything. This story isn't about buying a bride, it's about seeing a soul. It's about choosing respect when the world chooses ridicule. It's about understanding that first impressions often lie. And it's about quiet courage reshaping destiny in unexpected ways. That's why this tale still echoes through mountain winds. Because truth, once revealed, refuses to be silenced. I want you to think about how easily lives are judged today too. How quickly stories are written without listening to the people living them. This mountain man didn't save her, they saved each other differently. Through choice, patience, and shared humanity. Their love wasn't rushed, dramatic, or announced loudly. It grew steady, like roots gripping rock through unforgiving winters. And those roots held firm when storms returned. That's the kind of connection frontier legends are built on. Not fairy tales, but earned understanding. And that's why this story still matters now. So as we reach the end, I'll ask you something directly. What would have happened if no one had dared to look deeper? How many powerful stories are lost to quick judgment every day? This one survived because two people chose differently. If this story moved you, challenged you, or made you reflect, let me know. Subscribe to the channel for more powerful Wild West stories like this one. Hit the like button if you believe destiny rewards courage. And share your thoughts in the comments, because your perspective matters here. Your support helps keep these stories alive and growing. I'll see you in the next tale, right here on the frontier. Face with cowboy hat.